The Guadalupe River originates in western Kerr County, where water from the Edwards Trinity Plateau aquifer pushes through fractures in the rock and begins to flow overland. These springs form the headwaters of the North Fork, South Fork, and Johnson Creek, and constitute the majority of the Guadalupe River's flow as it meanders through Kerr County. The geography of the land, including steep canyons, shallow soils, sharp elevation changes, and exposed limestone bedrock, are responsible for the nature of our river and creeks. Under normal flow conditions, these characteristics produce shallow, clear, fast-flowing streams that are a tranquil habitat preferred by abundant wildlife, swimmers, and fishermen alike. But during intense rainfall, that same topography causes the river to roar downstream.
Terrain here is unique for flash flooding. Hill country has long been known as an area that receives flash flooding situations, mainly because we have limestone rocks. We have a very hilly terrain. It's not flat, so the water rushes down the hills. And if it happens to rain, especially above like the Guadalupe River, get up in the headwaters there where it's really kind of shallow, most areas, and a lot of limestone underneath, then you can get walls of water coming down. It acts like a street, like concrete. It just kind of rushes down, and you can end up, especially if it rains west of Kerrville, up around Hunt and Ingram and westward, with massive walls of water coming down at the same time. So the topography is favorable for water to not just stagnate, but to rush down creeks, rivers, and streams. If you get 3 or 4 inches of rain at one time, that can be a real serious problem.
Central Texas has been identified as the most flash flood prone area in the United States by the National Weather Service, and has often been referred to as Flash Flood Alley. The steep terrain and shallow soils cause heavy rainfall to quickly rush downstream. A dry draw can almost immediately change into a roaring river with thousands of gallons speeding downstream, causing water levels to rise several feet in a matter of minutes. Roadways across a usually lazy creek can quickly become impassable. The best advice we can give is to never drive through floodwaters. As the National Weather Service has campaigned for years, turn around, don't drown. 6 inches of water can reach the bottom of most passenger cars, causing potential stalling. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, water 1 foot deep typically exerts 500 pounds of lateral force on a vehicle and is enough to float many vehicles.
You always think, hey, I got a big vehicle, I can do this, and next thing you know, you're 10 miles downstream, and you don't have any power when you're in the water.
Once your vehicle is floating, the floodwater becomes your steering wheel. 2 feet of rushing water will carry away or flip over most vehicles, including SUVs and pickups.
Once your car is stalled or stops, you have no recourse. You're stuck in a vehicle, and that's when the flowing water then can displace the tires and move you on downstream.
It is also extremely dangerous to wade through floodwater. When floodwater is powerful enough to float or trap your vehicle, trying to wade through it is very risky. Just 6 inches of flowing water can knock you off your feet. Even if the water is not flowing, the murky appearance of the water can hide other dangers like sharp objects, washed out roadways, or slippery surfaces. If you slip or fall and sustain an injury, you could drown in even shallow water.
In a rural area like we have, it's not just the water itself. You're going to have fences, you're going to have, these humongous cypress trees, you're going to have barns, you're going to have everything's coming down that river at the same time.
Considering the numerous dangers associated with driving during severe thunderstorms and amid flash flood warnings, staying put is typically the best advice.
It's all about personal accountability. You're responsible for your life, your family's life, the lives of your children. If you make that decision, if you don't heed the warnings and make the decision to drive across a low water crossing that's flooded, you need to be able to accept the consequences.
Unfortunately, extreme conditions can cause flooding to impact areas previously thought to be safe.
As the community expands, as the county continues to grow, as you get more concrete structures, maybe more paved roadways, that type of thing, actually causes runoff to increase.
As we have increases in impervious cover, runoff can increase, and that can overwhelm drainages. So it's just one of the many reasons why flooding can be very unpredictable, because as we have areas grow, you can have changes in drainage, increases in runoff, and flooding can happen in a place where it didn't previously happen.
Whether you are at a home you have lived in your entire life or at a vacation cottage, understanding your flood risk and being connected to emergency warnings is essential.
I've seen people that were born and raised here their entire life that thought, oh, well, I know this crossing like the back of my hand, and they get washed off that crossing because the road's gone under them. They didn't realize it. They think, well, it's not that high. You don't know what's under it.
Our area has a history of monstrous and devastating flash floods, and many people in Kerr County vividly remember the historic flood of 1978 as one of the most staggering ever recorded. On August 1st, 1978, the remnants of Tropical Storm Amelia settled over the hill country, and flash flood warnings were issued for Bandera, Kendall, and Kerr counties. By the end of the following day, areas in Kerr County received as much as 20 inches of rain, and the Guadalupe River in Comfort rose over 35 feet with a peak stream flow rate of 240,000 cubic feet per second.
In 1978, this bridge right behind me, I watched some of these big cypress trees go up on top of that bridge because the water was lapping the bottom of that bridge because of rain. It will come that high and that quick. During that flood, we lost about 15 of our county residents out in Center Point that died. Some of them were washed out of their homes.
1987 is a classic example of that. The massive flood here, which put the river at its, I think it's still, the Guadalupe is the highest flood stage we've seen in July of 1987. That was a very small low pressure system. It wasn't even really supposed to rain that much that night. It just exploded west of Hunt, and it rained about 15 inches in a matter of 3 hours.
Visitors to our area are particularly vulnerable to being caught unprepared for flash flooding because they are not connected to local emergency warning programs like Kerr County's Code Red. Automatic text message alerts may also be linked to your cell phone's area code or home location set in your weather app instead of where you actually are. There are ways to protect yourself and your family from the dangers of flash flooding. Turn around, don't drown. We say it over and over every year, yet it still happens. As little as 1 foot of water over the roadway can wash a vehicle off the road. Find an alternate route to your destination or stay put.
You should wait any time that you see the barricades with the road closed. The road is closed for a good reason. Now we have a situation where first responders have to go out there and do a rescue. When that happens, that puts the lives of those responders at risk, and it was needless because of the fact that the road was closed.
Pay attention to weather forecasts and know the difference between a flash flood watch and a flash flood warning. A watch means that conditions are favorable for a flash flood to occur. A warning means the event is occurring or is imminent, and you should take immediate steps to protect yourself and your family. Be aware of the flood warning resources available to you, including local radio, law enforcement, alerts from the National Weather Service, NOAA weather radio broadcasts, and alerts from the Code Red emergency notification system.
The Code Red system is an emergency notification system operated by Kerr County. If you're a resident, if you own property in Kerr County, you can be a part of Code Red. You can pick which way you want to be notified. You can pick cell phone, your landline, via email, all those types of things.
Kerr County is a Code Red community. If you are a resident, subscribe to Code Red for free through the Kerr County Sheriff's Office. You will receive emergency warning calls on your landline or cell phone directly from the Sheriff's Office. You can also download the Code Red mobile app to receive free emergency and community warnings. The Guadalupe River enhances our quality of life, and we all enjoy living near it. But at the same time, be aware of the flash flood danger that also exists and what you can do to be prepared and protected.